Hey, what's up, everybody?
Oh, hi.
Welcome back to another episode of HVAC Success Secrets Revealed with Thaddeus and Evan. We have good conversations with good people, and any good conversation worth having is worth having drunk. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Enjoy your soda water.
Cola flavored.
Yeah, I'm ousting you.
Whatever. I think I've even said it. I've taken a hiatus from drinking. So
You have. We've talked about it a few times.
Two and a half months so far. So
I'm proud of you, bud.
I may or may not go back to drinking. Who knows?
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, I know.
Let's be honest. I'm excited for this episode. This is going to be fun. We're diving into the front end, admin staff, making sure that we're focused on that, making sure that we're sharpening the saw, getting really good on the front end. It's been something that we've talked about a few times. And it's funny, it even came up this week in conversation with a couple marketers talking about it around how you shouldn't invest into a ton of like PPC ads and Facebook ads and all these expensive platforms if you don't sharpen up your front end to make sure that you can maximize it by having strong operations. So I'm excited for another fun conversation.
Well, you nailed it, right? Like, again, it's like a recurring theme that we've had over the last couple of guests. One is CSRs, right?
Yep.
And two is, okay, well, it doesn't matter how many leads a marketing company sends you if you are shit at answering the phone and getting them booked, right? You'd have 500 calls, but if you're only answering and booking 30% of them versus 60 or 80 or even 90% of all the calls that you get, it's a catastrophic difference in your business.
Massive. And so our guest this week is none other than Nathan Keller. He is the co-founder of Free to Grow. He's an experienced sales leader, demonstrated a history of working in the information technology and services industries, skilled, very skilled in sales, partner management, customer relationship management, sales management, strategic partnerships. They are a front end service that you can hire to run your business so that they can answer the phone, book the calls, get them in there. They'll work in your CRM, all of that. But we want to dive in and focus on how can he help you, taking that knowledge that he's built to be able to build his organization, which helps support the trades, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, etc. There's many trades that they work with, but taking that expertise that he's done to build their business and bring that to you and add some real value. So I'm excited for this.
Well said.
All right. Sponsorships. Without them, we couldn't do this show. So let's go, SERA.
Well, we could, but it just doesn't have as good of a flow unless we have people like SERA or CHIIRP or Call Profit Rocket. But SERA is a field service management software. Ensures your business remains profitable by using their 4 key pillars. I like the real-time job efficiency as well as dynamic dispatching and a price model based on actual data. So it's no wonder that users of SERA show an average increase of 52% of revenue within the first 6 months, and the icing on the cake is more than doubling their profits. To check them out, sales.sera.tech/HVAC-revealed.
Love it.
Which
Profit
one are we doing
Rocket?
next?
Sure. Right. Profit Rocket. Listen, if you want to learn what Victor did to grow his business from 0 to 40 million in the last 4 years, go check out callprofitrocket.com. They've got the business blueprint in there, lays out all the details, SOPs, call scripts, everything that you need to run your business from the beginning to the end, including, most important, not just top line revenue, but bottom line profits. So go check out callprofitrocket.com, and under the events section, you can register for the Growth Summit, which is coming up this September in Austin, Texas. We'll be there with the podcast. I'm really looking forward to that part of it, but they are still giving away a Dodge TRX. I looked at the video yesterday. It's a 700 horsepower truck. It's fully loaded. Yeah, it's unreal. They're giving one away if you register today at callprofitrocket.com. Check it out.
Go. And last but certainly not least is CHIIRP. They are a automation toolbox, aka CRM, that connects on the front end that helps you close more deals and connect faster and turn those individuals into raving fans that continue to buy from you over and over and over again. Direct integrations, which I like, ServiceTitan, HouseCall Pro, Jobber, SERA, drop-down menus, basically. Automated text messages, emails, ringless voicemails, direct mail, rehash programs. List goes on and on and on. You are missing out if you are not on CHIIRP. We've seen numerous times of people adding in $100,000, $150,000 worth of revenue within the first couple of weeks of joining them by their automated outbound itself. So join them out. You actually get 25% off your first 3 months when you use the link chirp.com/HSSR. And let's get adding dollars to your bottom line.
Sick. Without further ado, let's get started with Nate.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to HVAC Success Secrets Revealed, a show where we interview industry leaders and disruptors, revealing the success secrets to create and unleash the ultimate HVAC business. Now your hosts, Thaddeus and Evan.
I'm still laughing about accidentally cutting you off.
Wouldn't be the first time. It's all great.
Well,
Nathan.
I mean, you said without further ado, and I'm like, all right, bang. And then,
It's all right. He's got a quick trigger finger. It's how he ended up with 2 kids. Nathan,
Hey-o.
welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Walk us through your journey. How did you get to where you're at now? Your journey in the trades. What attracted you to the trades in the first place? Why this was such a need for you?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll take you back. So my business partner, Charlie Felker, and I have known each other since 7th grade. So we've known each other for a very, very long time. And I've, through the years, I kind of started off in the IT industry, sales, operations, that sort of thing. Going back to, not that far, 2019, Charlie had a couple contracting businesses that he was in the process of selling. And he always had this pain point of CSRs, right? Small businesses, between $1, $3, and $5 million, you have a CSR, you need them, but are they doing a full-time gig for you? Or, it's hard to just sit there and guess when you need them, when you don't. They show up, they don't show up. We all kind of run through those issues from time to time. So he and I reconnected at the right time, and we just said through the use of finding really good quality people, technology, and everything else, can we start a business off that? We're based in St. Louis, Missouri. We started off here stubbing our toes a lot, right? Just kind of running through this, finding, the local companies here. We started off with handymen and lawn care and that sort of thing. And we found a couple good folks and had a small office here. And then over time, we built that and we took on some franchises, some tree care franchises, and then a Red Box Plus franchise that grew into about 15 of those, which is a dumpster roll-off franchise. And we started doing well in that piece of it. And then, you kind of fast forward to 2021, we picked up a few HVAC businesses. And that's where we really started figuring out, okay, this is, the calls that these guys are getting are, they're unmissable, right? They're way too valuable. When you get into, and tree care is very much the same way, but lawn care, you're getting 1,000 calls a day for someone to come out and cut your lawn for $50, and then they're going to do it again. And trying to create a good value there is so tough, and you're so expendable that we just said, okay, if we start focusing in these certain craft areas, and we still do a lot in the tree care, we still do a lot in the franchise side of it. But if we really start focusing in these, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, we since then have added garage door to that mix. And now we're working in some locksmith groups as well. That could really be a huge value add for these guys they may not have, the budget for a full CSR staff. They may have issues hiring people on site. They may run into, just the person that comes in, does training for a day, leaves at lunch, doesn't come back, right? That happens. It happens way too often. So yeah, we kind of built our business based on that, finding good quality people. We went remote and I guess it was winter of 2022 or 2023. Yeah, 2022, excuse me. And so we went fully remote, which actually expanded our hiring pool quite a bit. We weren't in St. Louis anymore. We could find people regionally. We could find good quality people that wanted to be at home, right? Which they're out there. They're tough to find. This workforce that we're in now, I'm in an office. I'm in a small office in St. Louis, but I'm not a work from home guy, right? I was not overly for this. We were looking at expanding offices in St. Louis at the time, but everybody just said, hey, we want to be remote. My conversation with our staff at that time was a tough conversation. And I just said, hey, as soon as we go remote, you guys are kind of a number, right? Like we're talking about, hey, with our, with our call software, with the CRMs that we're in and everything else, we're looking at bottom line KPI productivity, and that's it, right? I'm going to take, you're still a person. I'm still going to talk to you if you have issues. Yeah, that's fine. But the day-to-day stuff, right? If you come up to me and ask me a question in the office and the phone's ringing, I'm okay when that gets missed because you're asking me an important question. Now, no longer, right? We're doing this all through Slack. We're doing it through the phones and everything else. And that was a telling time for us. We had people that really responded well to it, and we had people that didn't make the cut, right? We had, I think, 6 people in St. Louis at the time when we did it. We have 2 people in St. Louis now, and we have, 14 employees. So they're all over the place, but we got the people in place now that are just kicking ass. And we look at a few things when we're talking about KPIs, and we'll get into that, I'm sure, but it's, they understand that, hey, I'm here, I'm being monitored, whether I know it or not, whether I feel it or not, right? They know that we have the process in place to really keep on them. So
love it. That's great. So I want to peel it back a little bit then and really dive into adding value for everyone that's listening to this who wants to build their own in-house team, because you're an expert at this, right? This is what you do all day long. You built a team of 14. Most offices might have 2 or 3 front-end staff, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Because the average HVAC business is not doing $10 million, $20 million. It takes an exceptional leader to get to that point. So let's start off at the very beginning of it in the hiring process. Putting out ads. Where is it that you are looking for talent? Because like you said, when you were looking just in St. Louis, you're in a limited pool. Now you're looking a lot broader than that.
Yeah.
Where is it that you're looking for talent? What is it that you're looking for in those hires?
So I'm a traditionalist on this in some ways. So when we first started the business, I was paying for Indeed ads and everything else. And I was like, it's just a complete waste of money, right? I have family members that are in other industries and they do it. And it's like a topic of conversation all the time. It's like, how much money are you throwing down on Indeed? And it's like, what the hell are you doing? Right. One, I've gotten to the point where Indeed is working for me and I don't pay a dime for it. Right. I constantly change our posts. I constantly change wording here and there on it. I've gotten very, very specific on what we're looking for, and when we first started the company, like we were working for, like I said, lawn care, a wide breadth of types of customers. So we were looking really generalists, right? And as we've gotten into, HVAC, electrical and plumbing, we've got to really narrow it down. The applications have dropped. The quality has increased tenfold though, right? I have 4 spots that we're looking at right now, and I have 8 candidates, and all of them I would hire tomorrow, right? I have the hard job, right, of making sure I'm picking the right one, right few here. But it's that has been a big piece. As soon as we get great people in the door and they're proving themselves and they're booking a ton, or from a customer service standpoint, I'm listening to calls or I'm getting feedback from our customers that someone is just a rock star, because that's how we judge a lot of it, right? Our customers listen to the same calls that we listen to. I may just listen to them a few more because I'm neurotic, but as soon as I get good feedback on that person, or I just hear, hey, Aaron's been awesome, right? Whatever that might be. I'm picking up the phone and saying, hey, Aaron, who are your buddies, right? Who have you worked with in the past? The reason you came here is because you wanted a remote position. You didn't want to be in an office, whatever that is. Who else do you know that can do what you do, right? Who are your friends? We've gotten a ton of great employees based off of that, or a high margin, right? We know, and especially when someone is willing to refer a friend over, one, we know we're doing a good job as an employer, right? And 2, they, if they're feeling comfortable enough, and they're just going to continue to spread that word, right? They're always going to do that. And obviously if they're, they feel confident, they're not going to give us somebody bad. So,
right. Well, they're going to be end up working with him, right?
I have another bunch of employees that have just flat out said, I have great friends. None of them would do well here. right? Which is great.
Yeah, you don't want them anyways, right? But
Right.
So I'm curious, like with your referral program, what we have in place is there, and I think a lot of businesses can take that and leverage that to see, hey, if there's anybody that they know, or you think about like text, right? And getting in green text into the door, great opportunities to use your existing network and your existing team around it. Is there any sort of referral compensation or referral bonus or structure that you have in place that you find helps bring in more referrals into your business for employees?
You mean from our current employees that are sending people over? To me, we're still a small enough company that I don't want to say it's a one-off because we compensate people for it, but I kind of have that conversation with them and say, hey, you send me somebody good and they're here for a little while, you're going to get a few $100 out of this, whatever that might be, right? And we're going to make sure that someone's taken care of that way at minimum, right? We're not doing. I know there's tech companies out there that are paying $5,000 referral fees for, people. And it's like, and then, but the stipulations on that are, hey, someone's got to be in there 120 days and the payouts of them. It's like, no, if you're going to send me somebody good, you know what, we're going to take care of you. We do a lot of just random, hey guys, you kicked ass today. We're going to send gift cards out to everybody, right? Team effort, right? We did that last week. We do attendance, just general attendance on a monthly basis of, hey, if you're here every day without an unscheduled day off, you're going to get something out of it, right? We're constantly evolving and trying to do stuff like that because we know it keeps good people, and the people that don't give a shit about being here and don't care about that, they don't last, right? It's just, yeah.
No, you definitely want to find the people that have. There was a friend of mine that talked about this. He's like, you want to hire people that have batteries included, because there's nothing worse as a child.
I like that.
Yeah, there's nothing worse as a child than opening up the toy that you can't play with because there's no batteries included.
Yeah,
so find the ones with batteries included. Walk me through
or if you're a parent, make sure you have an excess amount of batteries on hand of all different types so that you can avoid a prolonged meltdown.
Dude, that I've been switching D batteries from one toy to the next for like 3 weeks because I keep forgetting to go get them. I'm like constantly just borrowing from one. I'm like, okay, we got to stop with that one. We got to put it over here. Yeah.
Amazon.
I know. I'm forgetful when it comes to anything having to do with that.
Text the assistant and get some batteries. Training. So you've hired the person, you found the right person. You at least think they're the right person.
Yeah.
What's the training process look like before they're able to start taking live calls?
Evan, you just brought up another good little piece of this. So we heavily invested in service MVP training for our folks, right? Right out of the gate, they come in. I tell them first, I've had 2 interviews today, and that's out of my mouth. Hey, you start here. One, you got to get through our hiring process, which is myself, our senior operations manager, and then my business partner, and then it goes back to me, right? I don't like to lengthen it out, but that's going to make sure that everybody is really qualifying that person well. In there, hey, you're doing service MVP training. I don't care if you have 30 years of customer service experience. You're doing service MVP training. You're going to go through that. The day you're hired, you're starting, right? You're not going to take a call until you're at least 3/4 of the way through, right? After that, we'll feel a little bit comfortable with them taking a few calls here and there. And then after you graduate, that's when we're really kind of putting a bigger load on people. The day that we decided that we were doing service MVP training and we shot it out to our staff, we had 2 people immediately just completely disengage, right? And I knew it the day that we signed with Service MVP. I go, we have 2 people. I know we're going to lose them. I think I may have told Joe Crisera that. I go, I already know who's not going to participate and who's going to be gone.
Why do you think that happened?
I think there's people that hear training and they get super clammed up about it. They either are really overconfident and think they don't need the help, right? They think they're okay with what they do, or they don't like being put on the spot. I've gone through the training. I've sat in on sessions, And you see people that are probably really, really good at their jobs on a day in, day out basis. And you put them in a classroom setting where where you have, 15, 20 pairs of eyes on them and they just bottle up. Right. And there's people that don't respond to that very well. I've watched our own people that I know on phone calls. I've listened to them on phone calls, and they're better on phone calls than they are in a classroom situation where people are watching. But that being said, they get through it, they tough it out, they get through the graduation, and our best employees are the ones that have gotten through it the fastest. So
they're just bought in and they take full advantage of it. Yeah,
bought in, take full advantage of it. They understand what it means for them. For them getting a certificate at the end of it is a big deal. It's an accomplishment. We celebrate it internally. And we've made no bones about it that say, hey guys, this is a big piece for us for their development, for our development as a company, from our marketing as a company. We've gained customers off of this. Like it's a big piece of what we're doing right now.
Right. So how long after they're accepted do they go through training? That's number one. And then number two, how long after training are they taking live calls?
So they start training day one. All right. So we have basically probably we break it up into a couple sessions, and we actually have our senior operations manager is awesome because he's taken over the full onboarding of employees. I'm kind of there to put my sign on the checkbox of what needs to get done. But they get through kind of the technical aspects. They get introduced to all of our internal SOPs with our customers, so they get familiar with those. But then they start training probably that afternoon, right? If they start that morning, that afternoon, we kind of dose them a little bit. Okay, you're going to train for a little bit, then you're going to mirror someone, right? Kind of like we're doing right now on this call where someone's taking live calls and that person's just sitting there listening. And we're going to put them with a few different personality types. We have some folks out there that just are monsters when it comes to booking, and guess what? They're going to get a lot of time with that person. We have a couple of folks out there that are awesome when it comes to that customer sat side, where they're just the most empathetic people in the world. They can get on the same level with someone as fast as possible. They're going to spend a lot of time with those people. We pick and choose who that person's going to sit down with while they're going through the training process. They'll start taking live calls a little bit before they're done with SERA training, but they got to be, let's see, I think it's basically three stages, and then they're qualified for their graduation. They have to be starting that third stage. So
gotcha. Okay.
You mentioned, it's people that just get it. They're super empathetic on the calls. Is there anything in going back to the whole interview process? And you said you haven't really locked down and bringing people on board. Is there some sort of personality test or testing or skills test that you do in your interview process or hiring process to be able to help extrapolate that and hire the right people that have that sort of built-in empathy?
Not yet. But I think we have, between myself, our senior operations manager, John, and then Charlie, we are all wildly different personalities. So wildly different. If the three of us are on the same page with somebody, I think that's kind of checking the box, because there's no doubt I've had great feelings about someone that those two are like, and vice versa. Right. And that right now is probably our biggest test. I see the value in taking someone through a personality test. I've done plenty of them in other positions that I've been in. I think with the types of, I'm not opposed to it by any means. We just haven't gotten there as a company yet, to be honest.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and there's so many different ones that are out there. Like, how do you choose, right? Like, do you I'm a fan of the Colby A in our organization, because I look for people that have depending on the role, right? Because there's people that have a high follow through. I want to make sure that you get shit done and you complete tasks, right? That's what orientates you. For a business owner, I actually score low on follow through, and I start high and quick start, right? So like, it kind of gives you an idea on how they operate. And then there's other ones like the DISC. There's other ones. Chicken Lady Speaks. We had her on. She uses that one as well. Kathy Nielsen. And like, there's a whole different variety of analyzing and how people interact. So finding one that actually works is and fits your organization is difficult.
It is. And I think for us, we have our qualifiers, when it's the three of us that are walking someone through this process or interviewing, right? And I can immediately pick up on, like you said, the one that's empathetic, right? I was on one today, and normally our first call is like less than a half hour, right? It's hey, I'm going to get to know this person really quick and figure out how engaged they are, understand, if they're asking the right questions, right? And that can be plenty of different questions, but there's certain ones that are kind of like no-goes. But today I was on one for 45 minutes, which was a long one for me, but she had me totally engaged the entire time. She was that empathetic person, right? And we have this mix of employees that are, the empathetic person is going to be a little bit slower on the calls. They're going to get to that level. They're going to be super hand-holding and walking someone through. And those folks are invaluable for us, right? They're great and then on the flip side of it, we do have the machines, right? The machines that can do that. They do it a little quicker, but they also, their booking rate is, through the roof, right?
Right.
So when we're looking at it, it's like, from my point of view, it's like, okay, I'm always looking at that bottom 20% to see what's going on with them. And if it's a train in or train up and train out scenario, right? And then everything above that, it's like, okay, someone else could work on their, house slowing down, so to speak, or not worrying about getting to that next call. And, cause we'll get it taken care of. But I'm almost flipped on it where it's like the empathetic person. I don't know that I want to force them into a spot where they're trying to rush through and book something either. Cause it's not their nature. Right.
Well, and when you think of like any trade, and we've talked about this before, but any trade, the phone call that's coming in, nobody feels good about making that phone call. No one's excited to replace their garage door. No one's excited to get a new air conditioner. I mean, maybe the wife is, but the person paying for it, maybe not, right?
Right.
Yeah. The stay-at-home parent, I should say.
2023.
2023.
Wow.
Never know. We're in Canada. It's communism up here.
And canceled.
Done.
I'm glad to be on your last show, guys.
But the reality is that empathetic person, either way, whether you're fast at it or not, you have to be able to get down to the customer's level and connect with them. Because if you don't, you're going to lose them and they're going to book with someone else that makes them feel better. I'm curious, in your hiring process, are there any obscure questions that you ask to be able to draw out that empathy and be able to gauge that level that they have? Anything that you feel like is super unique?
Nothing super unique. I think I wish Charlie was here because I think he's good at like kind of winging those and like throwing them out there to see how someone responds.
Nice.
I really don't. I get a feel for someone just by like how quick they're trying to get through something, right? Someone that is, man, I've just been on so many good ones recently, which is great because I've been on so many bad ones previously. But anybody that's like just kind of hurrying up and getting to the point and not able to carry a conversation, it's like, to me, I view that as like, oh shit, this is just dead air, right? This is someone that's going to be on the phone and trying to find out something, and they're just going to let this person hang, right? I want, and again, we do a good job of having people go through training so they can have the conversational skills. But the person that's just going to sit there and say, okay, how's your day going while they're doing something else, right? That person that can bounce back and forth. We're constantly putting the tools in place to make their lives easier behind that call, right? Between technology and Slack, and we've now integrated an AI piece recently into Slack to make their lives easier. Or I don't want to say lives easier, but make their jobs a little bit easier. But the one that can just kind of talk through and do all that. And, we have some absolute unicorns out there that can do both and book somebody quickly. But, I've definitely heard the calls where it's like, there's just this, oh man, it's just such a long,
it kills you.
That like, it can be 15 seconds and you're like, this feels like an hour. Right. Yeah.
Right. I'm wondering if there's a correlation between stop spending money on Indeed and the amount of good interviews that you've had.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well,
I'm just happy to not spend the money on sifting through 120
Right.
applications that have
Right.
nothing to do with what we're trying to get into.
Well, it's people speed apply, right? Like we actually we're part of a
Oh.
mastermind in one of the other agency owners. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm having a tough time. He's like, I spent 3 hours going through 100 different applicants the other day.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy, right? I mean, we've built in, so you like when we've done hiring on LinkedIn, and instead of using the actual LinkedIn, sending me an email, they actually go to a website where they actually have to follow through an application step and do a couple of check marks in actual tasks before they even get onto the calendar. And it's taken the amount of effort and hiring way down. And like, yeah, you know what? You might miss some great candidates, but they're also not paying attention to detail. So do you really want them?
Right.
And so it's just a different way to do that, to be able to minimize some of the actual work going into the hiring process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get into that speed one, and like, there's just so many that don't even look, right? And when you put in requirements out there, I was telling you guys about that, the call by call thing. We can talk about that, but that app, we found the right guy for the spot, and I didn't find him. Charlie found him through a network connection, which is best. But man, I put a job application out there for an HVAC salesperson, and my God, I had like senior software sales guys like applying to this job. I'm like, what? Like, Grant, I know tech's taking a beating right now, but like, you guys aren't even looking, right? That's just
Yeah, they just speed apply, right? And then hopefully get a call back. So it's crazy.
Yeah, I think I had like 8 years experience in HVAC, electrical, or plumbing, and it's like, no, I had guys that were 20 years into SaaS tech sales.
Right? Completely different sales environment.
Completely different.
Yeah. So cool. Random question generator is brought to you by onpurposemedia.ca, your local HVAC marketing experts. If your marketing sucks, well, call us. We'll fix it for you. Onpurposemedia.ca, and it's .ca because we're Canadian, eh? So the random question has nothing to do with anything we're talking about. It's literally 4 options today. I haven't even read them, so they are on the screen. You get to choose 1, 2, 3, or 4. You do not get to know what the questions are in advance. You just get to choose what question you want me to read, and you get to answer it. So go.
4.
What is one thing you regret not doing in your life, and would you still do it now if given the chance? Oh, that's a deep one. Oh, that's a deep one. Oh,
I feel like we need like one of those like cards, like, hey, can like a pass for next time, right?
Phone a friend
on this one. Yeah, phone a friend, right? Say it one more time. I got to really think on this one.
They moved it. What is one thing you regret not doing in your life, and you would still do it now if given the chance?
Man, I can't. The one I probably had a lot more opportunities when I was younger to do like some like serious traveling. And that's kind of the hope, is at the end of the rainbow here, is like kind of pick up where that left off. And this is God, I could probably write you a whole lot of things I regret, but yeah.
But you regret not doing. That's
right.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of things that I regret doing, but
yeah.
No. Travel's a good one. I mean, I think
travel's a good one.
Yeah.
That's one. It's like, I always have that itch, but it's like, I've also, I never knew how here's another one. I regret not starting a business earlier in my life. Let's put it that way. Yeah. I spent a lot of time working for, software companies of all shapes and sizes, but a lot of small ones. And I'll be 40 this year. I regret not doing this earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually funny. My dad told me that. My dad told me that. When was this? When did I start at Best Version Media? 2014. And so I remember having a conversation with him too about that. I'm like, what do I do? Do I take the leap of plunge? I'm going to have no income for however many months as I start to build this thing out. He's like, well, you're young, you can do it. What if you lose 6 months, a year, worth of income earning. You're still young. You can bounce back. You'd be crazy not to. I wish I did it when I was younger too. And so anybody that's listening to this show that might not quite be ready to take that plunge and you're young, just do it. You can bounce back a lot easier. Even if you're older, just do it. Start somewhere. Don't just think about it. Right.
Yeah. I could not agree more. I have friends that, since we started this 3.5 years ago that have gone on to and by no way because of me, but they've started going and doing their own things too. And now we have this little, we leverage each other's experiences, even though we're in wildly different, industries. Right. But it's, I would say not doing this earlier. Right. Yeah.
No, that's a good one. I like that.
That's a great one. Yep.
All right. KPIs. I know that you had, so we've talked about finding people, hiring them, doing a little bit of training. Now it's like, okay, they're in there working. What sort of KPIs are you guys looking at on a day-by-day basis, week by week, month by month, et cetera, to be able to adequately impact your staff?
Minute by minute. So we, the thing, so we're, let me put it this way. We're big leveragers. We're big users in Slack. Right. And I've gotten very big on sharing where everybody is at all times with our team. So we have our phone system. We have automate reports that come out of this, and basically they get sent out to everybody via Slack every night, whether they look at them or not. It's up to them, but in a lot of the good ones typically do. Right. So first and foremost, if I were to say as a company, how we're performing for our customers, the biggest thing we look at is booking rate, right? On a daily basis. I look at it damn near hourly, but at the end of every day, I'm looking at the booking rate. And that's going out to our staff. That's kind of the high level of, hey, this is what we're here to do, right? We're here to get estimates on the schedule for our customers so they can go out and sell deals and grow their business and continue to move forward and hire more people and yada, yada, right? After that, I look at call resolution time. We have many alerts within our system as well to say, okay, if something's going beyond too long, that, there's a few of us that start getting notifications if someone's been on a call for 15 minutes, right? Do we need to check on them? Do they need help? Do we need to guide them from one way or the other? Or are they just on with kind of a chatty Cathy, right? Which is more often the case than not. So call resolution time, booking rate, we look at, we do a lot with our customers in regards to helping them out with their marketing. If they're getting a ton of spam calls, right, which happens, we have a few customers that just have historically gotten a bunch of spam calls, and we're able to identify those and say, what, send this over to your marketing group and see what's going on there. But I would say at the highest level, that's what I'm looking at on a daily basis. And I say daily, it's hourly for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
What would be your acceptable booking rate number?
We say about 90%.
And what is that number based on? Like, what are the qualifications as to what is a good lead versus not a good lead, that kind of thing?
That is anything that would be considered bookable. So we're still separating. So we have dispositions that are put to every call. Right. If it's, outside of scope, right. Or outside of scope or outside of service area, right. That doesn't get factored in because you're not going to do it anyway. Right. We have to factor out all the, hey, I'm calling in to check on my appointment, which is a ton of calls, spam, all the other stuff. But there's some that just flat out say, no, I don't want to spend, the money on you to come out here. I don't want to do this. And those are in there too. So, and we consider those bookable calls, right?
Okay, good.
So yeah, we're trying to get someone out there regardless. Right. We do have one customer, but it's over on the tree side of things that has a pretty high, minimum requirement that I don't factor that into their booking rate. But when we get into the HVAC, electrical, and plumbing side of it, our goal is to get someone out there regardless of what what our customers charging for someone to be there.
Right. No, that makes sense. I'm always curious with that because never fails. We're checking in on calls because we listen to client calls too, with their offices, and we're listening in, trying to see what's going on. Why is it that you missed 17 calls this month? Why is it that your call answering time is only a minute long? Like, what is happening here? And then never fails listening to the calls and seeing what's in Service Titan versus what our numbers say. And inevitably they're marking book calls that are easily bookable, and they let it fall.
Yeah. Yep.
They weren't able to get them on the calendar. They weren't able to build enough rapport. They weren't able to show enough empathy that even if you can't book them today and they needed to get pushed off tomorrow or the next day, I mean, at the end of the day, when it's 100 degrees out, every AC company is slammed, right? Yep. You're going to have to wait. So why not be the company that builds the best relationship with that customer over the phone so that you can get that book call, even if it is 3 days out?
Yep. Yeah.
So I love that you still count those.
Oh yeah, of course. We absolutely count those. Like I said, we have our one exception because, I know it has nothing to do with HVAC, electrical, or plumbing, but we picked up a Monster Tree franchise in Sarasota right before the hurricanes down in Florida, a week before.
Jeez.
And the best use case we could ever have, right? We booked everything. We had to go through and move things around. Like it was chaos. It was absolute chaos. But we got the best, comment in the world from the owner, and they're the number one producing franchise of all Monster Tree, of all 100 of them. And he flat out said, he goes, we would not have survived 3 weeks without you guys being here. So, yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
There's a compliment.
Yeah.
Call resolution time. What should that be?
We always look to have that under 3.5 minutes.
Okay. Love it.
So I cut out on the internet, and I really want to know, because I asked the question what the booking rate was. So just like the quick number that, and maybe drop it in the private chat, Evan, so I can have full, circle.
90% counts all leads that are bookable leads.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yep.
Good booking rate to go after. So
it's a great booking rate to go after.
Yeah. We consistently stay above 90 this week. So today's been 93. Yesterday was 96. The day before that was 92.
So to transition, for those of you who can't stand working with your CSRs for whatever reason, or maybe it's not even that you can't stand working with them. Maybe they're just not performing at the rate that you want them to, and you're having a really hard time managing them, training them, getting them up to speed, producing at the level that you expect, and you feel like you're wasting your marketing dollars. You probably are. Why should someone come and give you guys a call?
Evan, you just sold it for us. So, it's the marketing dollars, right? You're putting a ton of money into these leads. All of them are valuable. Every bookable call is extremely valuable, right? The good company knows they have great technicians that can go out there and inform the customer and get them to do what's best, not just for the customer, but what's best for the company. Right. Our job is to take that customer and make sure that they get on the calendar and they feel really good about what's going to happen. Because like you said before, it's not normally a fun call. You're coming out to do maintenance. Yeah, great. That's fine. We're doing that. But, for the most part, this time of year, it's not a good call that someone's about to make. Right. So our team is here to make them feel really good about it and for people to capitalize on those marketing dollars. Right. That's important stuff. I think you guys, covered it. And I think in the intro where it's like, if you're spending all these marketing dollars, but you're not capturing any of this information, you're not getting these on the book, you are burning money. Right. Just burning money. Right. So,
well, look, even if you're the truck in a truck, listen to this. No offense for the truck in the truck term. And you're out working on equipment and you can't answer every single call.
Yep.
You're potentially losing the ability to potentially grow your business. And look, some guys are happy being just them in a truck. No disrespect to you guys, but if you want to grow your business and you're not quite ready for full time, that's the other opportunity, right? The amount I think about yourself in a consumer's point of view. If I'm a consumer and I'm going to call somebody and they don't answer their phone. You know what you're going to do? I'm going to call the next person. I'm not waiting. My air conditioner's broke down, right? It's Canada. It's minus fucking cold outside and my furnace doesn't work. I'm going to call the next company until you get until I have somebody that is empathetic to me and understands my pain points and has a conversation, right? So you lose that opportunity if you don't have somebody answering your phone.
That's exactly right. And where we've seen a big push recently from our customer side is they have their team. They're not overly excited about having to expand that team, even though they're getting busier, right? And now we're taking a really good role of this like overflow, right? Overflow extension of the CSR. They might have a really good CSR that they're going to repurpose and put into more of a oversight role, and maybe doing working with vendors and that sort of thing. We're getting a lot more of that upstream with bigger companies, because they know that getting someone to come in and interview and be on site and do all this stuff with them is tough as hell right now, right? I remember this even kind of the pre-COVID time when we were building our business out and saying, well, listen, I got a flat. I was picking people up at their homes and bringing them in the office, right? Like it was, and as much as people don't want to look at, or they're not into the remote style. And I believe me, like I said earlier, I get it. I'm in an office here in St. Louis, but it's something that from a quality perspective, you can find great quality people wherever, right?
Right.
And not limit yourself to necessarily that geography that you're in. So,
right. Well, and look, there's a couple of people out there in the HVAC space that actually are remote. You think about Tersh Blissett in Service Emperor, what he's got down in Georgia. He's fully remote. Everybody works from home. Why am I drawing a blank? Stephanie Allen. They also have some remote. Her operations manager lives on the East Coast, and they're on a West Coast business, right? So there are ways to be able to do remote things within the HVAC space. So I guess one question that I have when you think about the remote aspect of things, and you think about quality assurance, and I know you listen to calls and building that culture for those businesses that might be thinking about doing a remote option within their HVAC space, or heck, any other business listening to this podcast or the show looking at a remote space, what are some things that you're doing to ensure, because obviously when somebody's in an office, it's culture driven, right? You can impact it right then and there, they're there. When you look at the remote side of things, how are you driving culture forward when everything's Zoom or Slack or, text message conversations?
So a lot of it is done via Slack for us, right? And we have, our own internal channels that have to do with just our company. We have our internal channels that for every company that we work with, right? So we have a free to grow kind of general BS one, right? Or day-to-day activities, whatever that might be. We have done a good job of finding people that get engaged with our particularly our new employees, and asking them questions in those Slacks and kind of getting to know them a little bit. When we do have employees onboarding as well, right? They do spend a lot of time with our folks. It just happens to be via Zoom. They get to know each other really well. We let our folks kind of push that culture a little bit. I don't want to say I encourage it, right? I want our leaders to be the ones that are driving that. We do make sure that we get together with everybody. We're doing check-ins with our employees a lot of just making sure everything's good. How are you doing? How are you feeling about this? Let's go through anything that you're kind of confused on. We kind of do a lot of ad hoc training here and there. Every Friday we have a very quick, but we have an all team meeting, right? We make sure that everybody's on it. And it's a requirement, right? And something for our customers to know, hey, at Fridays at 2:00 Central Time for 15 minutes, there's going to be a dead period, right? But the reason for that is why you're with us, right? The reason for that is because we have great people that work here, right? And we need to be able to get that feedback. And I view it as something that we take off of our customers' plates as owners. It's like, that's something that they necessarily don't have to manage, right? It's something that they don't have to do. We take that on ourselves to do it, and we enjoy it, right? It's something that has to happen, but it's great that it happens.
Love it. Thad, do you have any more questions around anything like that? Because I kind of want to put on my HVAC owner hat here and grill Nathan a little bit.
Yeah, do it. Go for it.
All right, sweet. All right, change hats. So I'm an HVAC
What does
owner.
that say?
It's not sheep.
Oh, I was on small screen. There we go. I had to make it big. So I'm like, I was squinting.
All right. CRMs. What do you work with? What do you not work with?
We work, well, one, they have to be on a CRM, right? We've had customers in the past that are on
Yellow
Google
badge.
Yellow
Sheets.
pad technology.
God. They're like, hey, I'm on Google Sheets. I'm like, no, that doesn't work, right? We've done it. Like I told you guys at the beginning, we've stubbed our toes a lot. We've stubbed our toes hard there. So Service Titan is probably getting up to 50% of our customers.
Makes sense.
I would say SERA is becoming a little bit more prevalent. Service Fusion, we have a customer that's coming up on Field Edge right now. House Call Pro is still one that we're seeing a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we constantly have a customer that's moving between one and the other, right?
Always.
Yeah.
And so your staff are trained on all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Can't get clients trained on one of them. Reality. Inbounding, obviously you guys take care of that. Do you do outbounding as well?
We do.
Nice.
Yep.
Love that.
Yeah. We do outbound. So we'll do happy calls. Just post job follow-ups, making sure everything went right, all that stuff. We'll do estimate follow-ups as well for anything that's really big that's out there. When we onboard a customer, it's typically a 2 to 3 week period because we're really getting to know that customer. We're assigning a primary manager and a secondary manager for that. They get in there, they get to know them, the do's, the don'ts, the everything, right? And then in there as well, we'll start carving out, okay, estimates this dollar and higher, or is that our follow-up? Because anything too low, it's like, I don't want to say we don't care about, but let's be honest.
Right.
Let's focus on what that threshold is and how old it is too, right?
Right. Let's get CHIIRP automating, follow up on that.
Yeah.
Plug in for CHIIRP.
I took care of your SERA one, so
there you go. Perfect. For the unique questions that come up, whether it pertains to the business itself, whether it pertains to like pricing and getting quotes over the phone and things like that, how is it that you train your staff to do that when they're working for multiple businesses?
So we have very in-depth SOPs that we create for every single one of our customers. Nice. And our folks that are the primaries and the secondaries in there learn those things like the back of their hand. We've recently, and when I say recently, this is like last week, we're now testing an AI functionality that we built out ourselves that's pulling that information from the SOP and dropping it into an internal Slack channel. So while our folks are on the phone with whatever account, they can just get to the right channel, ask that question. It's drawing it from the SOP and it's populating it there.
Nice. I love that. So how in depth then is the onboarding process for someone who's ready to go and geared up with you?
In depth, very in depth. So if someone says, I want to go tomorrow, I'm not doing business with them. So just flat out. I say that because we've done it in the past. We're not a Band-Aid. We can be supplemental to a CSR staff, but we're in this for the long haul with a customer. We want to partner with them. We want to understand their business. They need to understand that there's people that are working with their team, however that works out, right? This is not a flip of a switch and all of a sudden we're just up and running and taking calls and booking things. It doesn't work that way. There's a grace period. There's a get to know you period, like anything else. So we get as in depth as we need to, but it's typically a 2 to 3 week period with 2 meetings per week.
Wow. See, and that's the difference to me between a call answering service and a real true partner that you're trying to integrate into your business.
Yeah.
That's huge. Curious, you mentioned something specific around the empathy piece, where you had some callers that are really quick with empathy and others that take a little bit longer. Do you match them to certain demographics or certain areas based off of that aspect, so that if you have a caller coming in from the Northeast, where typically they operate in a "can you fucking hurry up, please" kind of attitude, you put those callers specifically up there versus down in the South where they're a little bit more laid back?
We tend to match up personalities, and it's kind of happened, I would say, a bit organically over time with our customers. The quickest thing I'm very open to telling customers this too. It's like, hey, if we have a group on your staff or working for you, right? So we have a primary and a secondary. They're going to handle the bulk of your calls. We eventually get, two more people in there. So it doesn't really get outside of 4 normally, unless it's a really big customer. But 4 people that would ever be in one account at one point in time. I'm very open with our customers to say, listen, if there's a personality match or someone's doing something that you're not quite cool with, or anything like, tell us, right? Tell us. What we can shift things really quickly. Like it doesn't take long, because we eventually get everybody trained up to where they're capable of backing someone else up, right? So yeah, we organically, I'd say yes, we started kind of matching up personalities and based on geography and that sort of thing. But if there's ever someone that's not quite a good fit, easy, I can shift people around pretty easily. So
there you go. I love it. Thad, did you have anything else on there from the owner side of questions that you would have?
Not off the top of my head.
Who would be the perfect fit? Like, what size of business would be the perfect fit to reach out to you?
I would say owners that are between $1 million and $5 million in revenue,
right? That
have had issues with CSRs in the past. Like they get it, right? They're about the growth. They understand. I don't want to get into age demographics, but it's like there's certain old school mentalities that, hey, I gotta have Betty sitting right next to me so I can see what she's doing all damn day, and it's like that person's just not a good fit. Right. Yep. It's just not. People that understand that, hey, this is a growth aspect for your business. It can be a growth aspect for your business. So
100%.
Cool. Well, if you want to reach out to Nathan, go free-2-grow.com. We'll put these in the show notes for later. Nate at free-2-grow.com. And you can text them 314-504-3281, or just pick up the phone and call him.
That is his personal cell phone, by the way.
There you go,
ladies.
Well, as we wrap up, Nate, we have one final question here for you. What is one question that you wish people would ask you more, but don't?
About business? About our business?
Anything.
Man, your questions are way too in depth. I don't know if I have any. Well, I have a question why Evan had his pinky up like that, but
just killing time, waiting for you to figure something out.
I got nothing on this. I feel like I get asked too many questions right now. So yeah.
What's one question then that owners should be asking, but don't think of? They don't see it as a problem yet.
Honestly, so the booking rate. That's one I'm kind of shocked that they don't ask that more often. Hey, how are you guys? What are you guys booking? I can honestly say we've had 3 customers recently that have brought it up, but prior to that, I think a lot of owners still see this as just something they have to have without understanding the KPIs behind it, the metrics of what they should be looking at, right? So that would be it. I would say I would ask more about, hey, what's your booking rate? How are you qualifying this? That sort of thing. So
there you go. So if your booking rate is only 60%, you're probably losing a lot of money.
Or if you don't know your booking rate, you're also
Oh,
equally
gosh.
losing a lot. Of money.
That's
even
so that's another one I get stunned by, and not to take up too much time, but like when I ask, like, because a lot of times we'll say, okay, how many calls are you getting in a week? Yada yada.
I have no idea.
Blank face.
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Definitely is. Well,
Yeah.
Nate, I'll be the first to say thanks for taking some time to chat with us
Guys,
today.
thanks. Thank you.
Dropped some knowledge, got some good info myself out of it, and I'm sure that anybody else listening also got some good info out of it today too.
Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, brother.
No worries.
Cheers.
And
Take
until
care.
next time,
All right.
cheers.
See you.
Well, that's a wrap on another episode of HVAC Success Secrets Revealed. Before you go, two quick things. First off, join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/HVAC Revealed. The other thing, if you took one tiny bit of information out of this show, no matter how big, no matter how small, all we ask is for you to introduce this to one person in your contacts list. That's it. That's all. One person. So they too can unleash the ultimate HVAC business. Until next time, cheers.